Today, we're going to cover the topic of succession planning in a legal practice. So, when does the principal of a legal firm or the partners in a legal firm know or realise that they need a succession plan?
Well, when does a firm need a succession plan? Well, some people would answer that every firm needs a succession plan always in place. But really, I think that a firm needs a succession plan when they have a potential successor. When someone is working in the firm and they express an interest in either taking over the firm or becoming a serious part owner of the firm, that's when the firm needs, obviously, a succession plan.
So I suppose it's not always up to the person working in the firm to come forward with that idea. It would be appropriate and a positive thing for the owners of the firm to have their eye out, to keep a lookout for those potential successors. Yeah,
absolutely right. And in the bigger firms, they call them partners.
Okay.
So admitting new partners, seeing some senior partners leaving the firm, retiring, expressing a desire to wind down, to give up their equity, and being replaced by those who are coming up the ranks.
So when do you implement a succession plan, or are you better off selling? How do you know? How can you tell?
Yes. So not every firm, especially not every small firm, has a successor available or interested in taking equity or taking over the firm. So, we deal with a lot of small firms, and a lot of them come to us to sell their firm because they don't have a successor internally. And really, when you think about it, if they don't have a successor internally, usually they're a candidate for selling their firm outright. Sure, they can come to us and ask, can you find a successor to take over this firm? And yes, we might be able to, but if they haven't been able to accomplish a succession themselves or find a successor after all these years, we're not going to magically be able to, come up with someone either, or that easily. We've done it, we can do it, we will continue to offer that, but from a practical point of view, from an efficiency point of view, for sticking to a timeline point of view, there's either a successor in place, hence a succession plan, or there is not a successor in place, and hence a sale of the practice.
So what are some of the more sort of positive, successful characteristics of a successor?
A successor is someone who wants equity. They want to be a stakeholder. They want to participate in the decision making, in setting the future of the firm. They have a vision for what the firm should be like, what the work environment, the culture, someone who wants to earn at the level of an owner, of a principal, and not earn at the level of an employee. Someone who's ambitious, you could say, good old-fashioned ambition.
So ambitious, but also has proven to be reliable, hardworking, determined, and persistent, exactly. Resilient, all those things that come with owning your own firm. I mean, we're talking about lawyers who have shown those qualities and that interest, as you say, that ambition.
And importantly, they already work in the firm. They know the clients. The clients probably like them. They want to do work for those clients. And the current owners think that's a great idea, and this is a way out for them, and to reduce their responsibility in the firm and focus on other things that's coming in their life.
And as we know, most firms, most principals, whether they're small, medium or larger firms, they're busy. And this is something that they don't always put a lot of thought into, which is where you come in, we come in. We can help in terms of shaping the strategy going forward and how to finalize a succession plan, how to implement it. You've been doing it for 22 years, over 22 years. So what we're saying with this video is it's a big topic. It's complex. There's a lot of detail that goes into it, and we can help you help the principals through the process to achieve their ultimate goal of a succession, a successful succession.
And what we can bring to this is our deep understanding and experience of the value of legal practices as a business. Because someone who wants to sell their equity, to sell down their equity, to transition to a non-owner, to a consultant, to retire, wants to ask the very good questions. What's the value of this business? Should I be receiving some compensation for goodwill? Should I be receiving some compensation for the actual tangible assets in the firm? There's goodwill, there's the balance sheet, and these are not matters that we shy away from. This is where our years of experience valuing legal practices, selling legal practices, designing frameworks for succession arrangements will take into account all of these aspects, but at the same time allow the principal to make an informed decision about them. We're not going to tell them that you must do it this way or that way, but here conceptually is what the value of your firm is, and here are some ways that you can recover some of that value. And different owners of law firms will have different approaches to that. But importantly, one of the main differences between selling a firm and a succession arrangement is that in a succession arrangement, usually the successor is not going to be paying as much as a lump sum payment, if any, actually. And this can all be customized. How much of their acquisition is going to be lump sum? How much of it is going to be over time, factored into various other aspects of the firm, which we can't go into here. It's a bit complicated, but we can set it out in a framework, and we make it easy for a successor, the right successor, to take over the equity. We make it easy, practical, the least intimidating as possible, because what we find is that when a successor is asked to make a large payment, that's when they start thinking, well, what are my other options? Should I see what the value of my work is in another law firm? What other options are there in my career? Well, this is where it gets tricky in a succession arrangement, and where a good framework can basically smooth the process towards ownership without scaring off a potential successor.
Right. That's great, Peter. Thank you.
Thank you.